is the Fade 5 Podcast with Brad Evans and Nate Lundy.
Place your bets, you jackwagons. Breathing noise ever here alongside the good sir Nathaniel Lundy. 'Tis indeed the Fade 5 Podcast presented by Suavecito Tequila. And good Lord have mercy, I needed multiple bottles of the Love Juice last night. And during that national title game, which, to be honest, I turned off at halftime. It was a drubbing. It was a thumping. It was a full-blown massacre issued by the Bulldogs, who rightfully claimed their back-to-back national title. And TCU, just an embarrassment, really. A great season for them. They weren't even supposed to be in this position. And they clearly showed that they did not deserve to be in the title game. Lundy made up a little bit of cash last night. Meanwhile, I drained my pockets of the dollars in the process. Well, in the player props. The only one I hit last night was Brock Bowers, and he more than doubled up his receiving yards number, which closed at 63.5. But that is in the past. We need to now focus on the pros in the playoffs. And Lundy, I don't know if you've seen some of the early lines, the sides, the totals, maybe some player props that could be out there. But early NFL pick to click, what is your strongest lean on this Tuesday?
I've got two for strongest lean. So we talked about this on the TV show last night. If you look at the last 2 years, Brad, since they extended the playoffs and added that additional wild card team. So what that has meant the last 2 years is that there have been 6 wild card games over the course of wild card weekend. Again, for some of you that need a reminder, maybe you've had a little bit too much Suavecito lately, like you. Brad. Yeah. And you need the little reminder. Here's what's interesting, Brad. In the last 2 years, last year it was 4 out of the 6 games. The year before it was 3 out of the 6 games that were double-digit wins.
Oh, wow.
And if you go back to the previous 2 postseasons when there were only 4 games, combined, only 1 of the 8 were double-digit wins. So what's happened is, as they've extended this, we have seen some lopsided games by adding in that additional wild card. So I got 2 for you. If there is going to be a double-digit win, the one that I believe is going to happen is San Francisco over Seattle. So the fact that San Francisco is favored by 10, I'm okay with that. If we follow the trend that there's going to be a couple of these games that get decided by double figures, San Francisco is the one that I am leaning towards the most right now. Just on straight spread, Brad, I really like Cincinnati minus 6.5 against Baltimore. I know we're waiting on news from John Harbaugh as to what the status will be for Lamar Jackson. Is he going to practice at all this week? What's going on? But if you dive into some of the numbers, Brad, Cincinnati's run defense kept getting better as the season went along. They actually really started to tighten down in the trenches. And so I know Lamar Jackson is a different beast, man. And if he were 100%, I might have a slightly different feel. But if he's going to play and he's not 100%, or if they're not able to use him, the way Cincinnati's run defense has played of late, I think Cincinnati by a touchdown plus I've got a lot of confidence in that one. I've got some other leans in some of the other games, but those are the 2 that stand out to me the most. If there's going to be a quote-unquote blowout, I think it's going to be the Niners, and I really like Cincinnati only laying 6.5 because I've got a feeling that as this week goes along, the longer we go without getting Lamar Jackson news, the more that line is going to stretch, and I really like that right now it's only at 6.5.
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly with that point of view. In fact, I'd probably play it up to 9.5. I mean, Gus Edwards exited with an injury last week, so that is another blow to the ground game. If he is unable to go, I know J.K. Dobbins has been nothing short of brilliant here down the stretch, but the Bengals are outstanding and really across the board. I think their biggest weakness is in pass defense right now, and Lamar has got a ton of accumulated rust in that area if he does actually see the field. So a lot of question marks tied for the underdog, not necessarily favored in that game. And that's why Lundy and I got a little bit of cat scratch fever, if you will. I got a total that I'm digging in on. I like the over in the Jacksonville and Chargers game. It's set at 47.5. As we've said repeatedly on this program, there are defensive shortcomings for both franchises. You look at LAC, they cannot stop the run worth the damn. They give it up over 5 yards per carry, the running back position this year. Jacksonville, meanwhile, it's on the back end where they struggle mightily trying to bottle up the passing game. So I think this one's going to be a pew shootout of sorts. A game that could be, maybe easily be in the mid to high 20s. And as a result, at 47.5, I think there's some pretty good value there on the over on that total right now at BetMGM at -110. With our early thoughts in the NFL put to bed, let's get back after it and dream nothing but winners and college hoops with another edition of the Fade 5.
Number 5.
All right, numero cinco, let's go to Lundy's part of the country there in the Rocky Mountain region, the Mountain West Conference. One of my favorite conferences, honestly, to bet on and really to watch. It's a very good league, mostly from top to bottom, and I think this game is going to be nip and tuck, but more than anything else, I think it's going to be higher scoring than what the books have the line at right now. Give me the over on Air Force in Colorado State at -132. Best line right now at PointsBet at -110. And honestly, I may play this up to like 135.5, 136. Ultimately, why? Both these teams are jack happy, kind of like me in high school. They shoot a ton of threes. You look at Colorado State, very leaky defensively. So far in Mountain West play, number 11 in adjusted defensive efficiency, but 45.3% of their shots come from beyond the arc. You look at Air Force, not much better. They are 37.3% three-point percentage defense allowed in the Mountain West Conference, and they're also dead last in that category in league play. And not only that, too, but a team that shoots a ton of threes. Over 42% of their shots come from way downtown. So I know these guys are middle of the road in terms of pace. Air Force a little bit slower, but they usually play and abide by whatever the home team's pace is set. And Colorado State kind of likes it a little bit brisk under Nico Medved. So I think ultimately here, as long as the threes are falling at an average clip for both of these clubs, the Falcons and the Ram Mighties here, I think the over on 132 is awfully low. This game should finish in the 70s. And Lundy, looking at some of the advanced analytics sites out there, Bartorvik, KenPom, Haslametrics, every single one of them has between 146 and 150 on this line. So it seems like there is a tremendous amount of value with Air Force and Colorado State on the over 132, unless all these guys are going to have like pregame episodes of diarrhea. So fade or follow on that over 132 between Aim High, Air Force, and CSU in this Mountain West battle, -110 at PointsBet.
Where the hell why are you talking about diarrhea? Where the hell did that come from?
Maybe I had a recent bout. I don't know.
Oh my goodness. Calm down, my man. Folks, take the over in this one. And honestly, Brad, I think this game to me is a double down. So not a 2-unit bet, but what I mean by that is make a bet on the standard line, do it at the 132, and then take plus odds. Go find an alt total of right around, say, 136 to 137. Do another 5 points and get it up into positive territory. Folks, let me give you a couple of reasons why. For Colorado State, for example, in their last game against Fresno State, they only gave up 57. However, in the 4 previous games for the Rams, here's how many points they gave up: 80, 78, 88, and 73. So Colorado State susceptible to giving up the points. Here's the last 3 for the Zoomies: 77, 75, and 71. So just looking at the recent trends, I mean, all I'm doing here is talking about the last 3 to 5 games for each of these teams, and they're showing their weaknesses on defense. Now, against each other, that's where it gets interesting. But you're talking about jack and threes. If some of those start to fall, we all know 3-point shooting from outside the arc is really damn contagious. If one guy starts hitting them, everybody starts hitting them. So I really like this at the standard line, Brad, but I like the idea of doubling down, bumping it up by a few points to get myself into positive territory, then making a second bet just in case this turns into a bit of a shootout.
Let me correct myself. Air Force, I said, is giving out 37.7% from three. That's actually what they are netting. What they are giving up, far worse in Mountain West play, 46.9%.
Booyah.
Take the over and over again.
Number 4.
All right, from the Rocky Mountains to the wetlands of the Southeast. And let's talk about LSU and Florida and the Tigers down there on the Bayou are playing the host here. And I'm going to take them plus 1.5 at minus 110 at BetMGM on this line. I know LSU is really lackluster, but they are an impeccable 9-0 at home this season, including a key victory against the Arkansas Razorbacks. They're an SEC play that happened just a week ago. LSU 1-2 overall in the SEC, and then their last 30 days, they're number 334 in 2-point percentage D. That's a clear weakness. But number 43 in 3-point percentage D. So doing a pretty good job of extending out. Number 252 overall in effective field goal percentage defense. And you look at their offense, more improved by that number. Number 126 in effective field goal percentage offense. Now, meanwhile, I look at Florida, very stout defensive club with the Lululemon Sporting Todd Golden calling the shots there on the sidelines. Number 8 in adjusted defensive efficiency, but they're just 3-4 this season in road neutral games. They are number 2 in 2-point percentage D due to the presence of Castleton inside, blocking shots like nuts, but they're 0-3 in their last 3 games away from Gainesville against the spread. So LSU, a team that really needs to build a resume here, and this is kind of a early bubblicious matchup of sorts. I think they hold home court. I think they ultimately lose by a point or less. Hell, they could win this game and take down Florida. So give me go Tigers, G-E-U-X or A-U-X, however they spell it down there on the Bayou. Minus 110 at BetMGM. Lundy, speak some Creole to me. Do you like this, or are you going to fade me?
I don't know any Creole. Is gumbo Creole? Is that technically
yeah, I think so. Technically, it is.
Etouffee. There we go.
I have no idea what that means.
It's food. It's a seafood. I don't really like it because I don't really like shellfish, but my wife likes etouffee. When we were down in New Orleans for the Final Four, when she was getting her Jayhawk on, that was what she kept ordering everywhere that we went. She was like, I am in heaven. She was loving it. I'm going to fade you on this one because LSU sucks against the spread at home. They're only 1-5 in their last 6 home games. Do I think they could eke this one out? Yes. But you're right. This is a resume type builder. You can't be losing at home. You got to step up. I know it's early in the season, but this is the stuff that people make note of, right? People on the committee, they're making notes in whatever their little black book is that they're keeping track of all this shit. So I'm actually going to fade you on this one, but it's not because I necessarily feel one way or the other. LSU hasn't shown me anything at home. They're not good. They're 1-5 against the spread in their last 6. So I'm going to fade you on this one, and primarily because I'm tired of agreeing with you on every episode of this damn podcast. It's time for me to start standing up for myself. I gotta stand up for myself. Damn it. I say no. I say LSU does not cover. I'll take Florida.
Fade the noise. Lundy, it's bound to be profitable for you.
Number 3.
All right, let's get a little 2-leg moneyline parlay on the board. I love going with 2-leg moneyline parlays, 3 legs, sometimes on occasion, like on a Saturday slate when you have like 150 or 200 games on the docket. I will go up to 4 legs on that slate, but just 2 legs tonight. And first off, I'm going to start off with St. John's, the Johnnies, to win straight up against the visiting Butler. And on the second leg, give me Iowa State at home against a downtrodden Texas Tech team that, honestly, I don't think is going to make the NCAA tournament, despite the recent brand name that was built there. So getting back to the Johnnies, why are they going to win? Well, yeah, they're 1-5 in Big East play, but Butler right now is the worst team in the conference in myriad categories, especially on offense. They're only netting 0.98 points per possession in Big East action. Number 6, though, an effective field goal percentage defense. However, they're 3-5 in road neutral games this season. Meanwhile, I look at St. John's. You know they play up-tempo. It's zip, 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 up and down there. Andre Curbelo, the former Fighting Illini, maybe one of the coolest looks in college basketball. He's got the fro, he's got a sleeve of tattoos, and he's got the tinted orange shades on. It's pretty cool. You got to see it. And his game matches. It's extraordinary at times, also frustrating at times, but I think they could fire it on cylinders tonight offensively. This team, number 7, an effective field goal percentage offense in Big East play, so they've underachieved so far, and they're number 8 in defensive adjusted defensive efficiency in Big East action. However, very good offensive rebounding team because of Soriano. They get a lot of second chance opportunities there, crash the glass. So I think St. John's a better team. They are desperate for a win. They are at home, and the Johnnies will emerge victorious. Meanwhile, Iowa State, impeccable right now in the Big 12. I think TJ Otzelberger has done a marvelous job, and this team is trending to a single-digit seed come Selection Sunday. Outstanding defensively, number 1 in all of college basketball, and turnover percentage D. And Texas Tech, that's their weakness, is coughing up the rock. They are very turnover prone in general. Not only that, too, but only scoring 0.917 points per possession in conference play. So I think Iowa State, coming off a couple of mammoth wins here in the last week on the road, return to Ames, Hilton Coliseum. It's always magical. They're going to wave a wand and dispense the visiting Texas Tech Red Raiders. So feed or follow on this 2-leg moneyline parlay. All they got to do is win straight up. St. John's, Iowa State, that happens, plus 120. Get seduced by that juice, Lundy, at DraftKings. Fade or follow.
I like it. I'll take it on a plus 120. You already talked about Iowa State. You gave it a lot of really good reasons for St. John's, but you're exactly right about Texas Tech. Not very impressive. And I think, I get it. It's only January 10th, but right now, outside looking in when it comes to tournament time, unless Tech goes on some kind of a run. So Iowa State should be able to take advantage of that. Nice Big 12 win for them. And I'm all about the Johnnies tonight. Put those two together. Nice, easy, plus 120. I like the fact, though, that for you, it has to be the weekend. For you to go to get into like crazy 7-leg parlay territory. Like you just decide to be, a little conservative during the week. It's kind of like, late night, you're like, all right, I'm going to have a glass of wine before dinner. Saturday night, you're like, bring me the bottle.
That's exactly right. All the shots on the weekends. Why? I get to sleep in.
Number 2.
All right, numero dos. It's a big spread, and it's going to scare a lot of people, but I am going to lay the chalk and play this because Tennessee should win by 20+. So I'm going to lay the 17.5 at home there in Knoxville against Jerry Stackhouse and the visiting Vanderbilt Commodores, minus 110 at BetMGM. You look at Tennessee, 7-3 ATS in their last 10. Now, to give credit where credit is due, Vanderbilt is 4-1 ATS in their last 5 road matchups. But Tennessee, one of the best teams in the country. They're number 4 in the nation in assists per field goals made, number 1 in adjusted defensive efficiency, giving up just 0.085 points per possession. Not only that, too, 3-point percentage D. They're only giving up 20.8% from along the arc, and overall an effective field goal percentage defense, 37.6%. And they're pretty damn good in SEC play offensively, shooting over 60% inside the arc and over 43% outside of it. So you combine an elite defense, and they are the definition of that, along with an offense right now that is molten. And knowing that Vanderbilt is just middle of the road at everything. They're just so unexciting when you try to examine their resume and peel back the layers of the onion. Number 121 in adjusted defensive efficiency on the season. Number 152 in effective field goal percentage offense. I don't think they're going to really challenge the Volunteers. My only concern is this thing's at like 19, 20 points with about a minute and a half left. And Barnes says, hey, let's clear the bench here. And as a result, all of a sudden, that minus 17.5, we're feeling good about, evaporates, and Vanderbilt not only kicks in, they run through that back door. But for all intents and purposes, put it all together, Volunteers minus 17.5. Screw it, I'm taking it, minus 110 at BetMGM. Lundy, fade or follow.
I'll roll with you with this one. The opposite logic, well, I guess same logic, but opposite direction that we were talking about with LSU. Tennessee 7-1 against the spread in their last 8 home games. So they take care of business when they are there at home. Yes, This is a massive spread. Yes, you need to be a little bit concerned about a backdoor cover, but I actually think, Brad, it's going to go. We never give bench players enough credit, do we? I mean, sometimes when you go to the bench, maybe these guys are pretty good. Maybe they did. I don't know. I'm trying to talk myself into this one because I did see this spread this morning when I knew we were going to talk some college hoops on the pod. And I was like, oh man, like I really am tempted to take that one, but God, that's a lot of points. Brad, I'm going to say Tennessee wins it by 20. So I'll lay your 17.5. I say they obliterate them. Nothing sexy about Vandy in this one. Tennessee wanting to make a nice statement at home here in SEC play. Take it. Lay the points. Have no fear. The Vols will take care of the business.
You're damn right. Bury the being scared. Go Vols!
Number 1.
All right, numero 1 on today's Fave 5 podcast. I'm going to lay the chalk with Kansas State and do some shopping at tape time. The best line in the industry was at Vanderbilt at minus 110, and that line being minus 4.5 against the Cowboys of Oklahoma State. Some books, it's all the way up to minus 5.5. And I would probably play it up to that point. Oklahoma State's awfully good defensively, one of the best defensive teams in the country. And they are top 12 in 4 defensive categories nationally, as a matter of fact. However, they have been plagued by their own self-inflicted wounds. One of the worst and most turnover-prone teams in the Big 12, number 1 in offensive turnover percentage, meaning they cough it up 23% of their possessions in league action, and they're only scoring 44.2% inside the arc. Still, with Class A, with Boone inside, they have some supreme rim protectors, but Kansas State has been a story. They are maybe the shocker special so far this college basketball season. The Little Apple and orchard of points right now. I mean, they scored $116 on the road in Austin against Texas recently. It's amazing what Jerome Tang has done. He was assistant for like 20 years. He's bounced around his first head coaching opportunity, and he's running with it, really quite literally. And you look at K-State, they have won 8 straight. They are number 82 in tempo, so they play at a faster pace. They have scored 80 or more points in a game 7 times this year. They're number 27 in the country in adjusted offensive efficiency, netting 35.8% beyond the arc and 54.2% inside of the arc. So their guard play is outstanding, and they're just playing superb basketball across the board right now. They're at home, and they're unblemished so far in Big 12 play, and I think that will continue tonight, and I believe they will win by 7+. Oklahoma State will push them a little bit, again, because they defend, but I think K-State wins by 7+. Thus, they cover the 4.5. Lundy, fade or follow, this spread, minus 110 at FanDuel.
I am so nervous that there will be some sort of regression on the Wildcats' part.
At home?
Yeah, I mean, they're 8-0 at home. So, I feel like it's going to happen at some point because, look, you can be the shocker special. You can be 14-1. You can have everybody's attention. But, Brad, normally there's a reason you're surprising everybody, right? I mean, come on now. There's a reason that you sit back and you go, man, how the hell did K-State do this? And I worry that there's going to be a little bit of a regression. So, with that in mind, I'm actually trying to do this on the fly. Talk amongst yourselves. I'll give you a topic. Here's actually what I am thinking I might do with this one, Brad, is just take K-State on the money line and add it to the parlay that you already did.
St. John's and Iowa State?
See what I'm doing there? I just did that on the fly as we're sitting here at BetMGM, and that turns it into a plus 214.
Woo!
So it takes your money line parlay, which was plus 120, and takes it to plus 214. That's actually how I think I want to combine these two together, because I am a little bit worried about OK State keeping this thing really close. I think K-State can win it. Like I said, they're 8-0 at home. I think they can go to 9-0. But I do worry about this one being a tough Big 12 type of game, and that 4.5/5.5 that you were talking about, depending upon the book, could get a little bit dicey at the end. So I like K-State to win. I don't like this spread. So instead, bounce it with St. John's, Put it in there with Iowa State, like Brad was just talking about on that 2-leg that we did back at number 3 on the list. If you add K-State into that, it takes it to plus 214. I feel a little bit better about that than I do just laying the points with the Cats.
You can dance with your 1-2. You can leave your friends behind. Crank the safety dance for Lundy. I'm playing K-State straight up. Minus 4.5 against OK State. With that in the books, the Fade 5 also in the rear view. It's bonus time, Lundy. Maybe hockey, maybe pro basketball circuit, other college action. What else do you have on your betting card tonight?
Well, we hit a couple of plus odds things in hockey last night. I'm going to go back to the ice tonight. I've got 3 different plays for you. 2 of them are actually player props on the same guy. But let me start off with an alt line 3-legger for you. These are all 3 games that I really like the over in tonight, but I'm going to back them all down to over 5.5 goals. So I'm taking each one of them from either 6 or 6.5, where it sits right now. I'm bringing it down to 5.5. Do that with the Kraken and the Sabres. They're playing in Buffalo. Do that with Florida and Colorado here in Denver tonight, and do that with San Jose. The Sharks are on the road. They're taking on the Yotes of Arizona. Take all 3 of those games, alt line them, folks, over 5.5. The payday on that one over at DraftKings for you tonight is a plus 286. That is really, really sexy. Then I want to go to the Colorado game against Florida tonight. I am all about setting the moose loose. That is Mikko Rantanen, who leads the Avs in goals. It's not even close. He's sitting with, 26? Yeah, 26 goals. Cale Makar and Nathan McKinnon combined have 20, to give you an idea of how hot Moose has been this season for the Avs. Also, he has multi-point games in 3 out of his last 4 home games. So I'm taking him to have over 1.5 points in the game tonight. That is a plus 130. Oh, I love that. He, like I said, 3 out of the last 4 home games, he has done it. And then on top of that, I'm going to say that at least one of those points is going to wind up being on the power play, and that's plus 120 for him to have a power play point tonight. Biggest reason for that, 1, he leads the team in power play points. He's got 19. Secondly, Florida is 3rd in the NHL in penalty minutes. They can't stay out of the box. So the Panthers are going to give the Avs the opportunity, and if that happens, I think Mikko capitalizes. So double down on Mikko Rantanen, over 1.5 total points, and over 0.5 a power play point. Both of those are plus odds, plus 130 and plus 120 respectively. So that is where I'm going on the ice tonight. Brad, you got a little bonus for me on the hardwood?
I do, and I'm going to go to the NBA and stick with that plus odds conversation. Let's do an OGP or SGP in the Portland Trail Blazers game, taking on the Orlando Magic. Give me Dame Lillard to net at least 4 threes in the game, and Portland on the money line. Both those events occur. It's plus 105, and I construct this at BetMGM. You look at Orlando in their last 10. They have allowed a whopping 15.9 makes from way downtown, which is insane. They've also given up 38.8% from 3 during that stretch. And I know Dame has failed to score at least 4 threes in his last 4 consecutive contests, but he has gone over this number 8 times over the last month. So I think he's got to awake from the slumber from distance and go splishy, splashy against the defense. That's just going to leave him wide ass open for the triples.
By the way, to add some support to that one, the Magic just played last night in Sacramento. 4 dudes had at least 3-pointers. 3 3-pointers for Sacramento last night. 4 dudes had at least 3. So you should roll with Dame without a doubt, especially with the Magic on the second night of a back-to-back.
Yeah, make some dimes with Dame, and I think the Trailblazers ultimately win, and that ultimately sweetens that deal. Again, Dame 4+ threes made, Portland on the money line plus 105. Then one other play in college basketball, back to the Mountain West, and it's another over on the Wyoming Cowboys, my Cowboys, against the Utah State Aggies. This one being played at Utah State. I'm going to take the over at 140. Again, using the predictive metric sites that are out there, they are forecasting this game anywhere between 6 to 10 points higher on the proposed game total. Utah State, another jack-happy team from distance, a squad that 41.2% of their shots come from beyond the arc, and they're netting 41.4%. from there. That's number 2 in the nation. They're also leaky defensively, number 273 in three-point percentage defense. So Hunter Maldonado and Wyoming should have their way outside. Hopefully they can hit some of those shots. Wyoming, meanwhile, defensively, also very vulnerable. Number 271 in effective field goal percentage defense. Number 248 in three-point percentage D. So you're facing a team that loves to shoot the long-distance shots on the road, and you can't defend it. That's a formula for failure, but it also is a formula of the over-hitting in this game. And not only that, too, but Mountain West play, they are number 4 in three-point percentage offense for the Cowboys. So, again, I'll take the over on Wyo, Utah State, 140. Pull that from DraftKings. And just an extra convincing argument, Utah State's at the over in 10 of 15 games this year. We are out of time on the podcast today. We're going to be back on Friday this week because we're going to be previewing Wild Card Weekend in the NFL and any of the action that's available in hoops or on the ice that night. If you enjoy this podcast, please drop us a rating and a review at your convenience. Also, follow us in all of our selections across the myriad of sports on Twitter. You can follow Lundy at Nate Lundy in his free and accessible spreadsheet, my free and accessible spreadsheet at Noisy Huevos. As always, until next time, feed or follow. That is up to you.